get started. Let's start with sharing some windows. Select window. We will share Google Chrome. Perfect. There's one. And then, what else? Let's share. Properties. Select window. Yeah, let's do the command line. I don't know if I'm gonna need it, but we'll share it. Okay. Got the command line. I guess I don't really know what else I'll need from here. So maybe while I'm figuring stuff out, I'll just share this screen a little bigger. I think I'm just gonna start on YouTube. And I've already searched it, as you can see. And I skimmed through a couple of videos, but I can't remember which one I liked. Because what I want to do is not learn just how to do it, because I think I've seen in a couple of videos where there's like a shop or like a place where you can go and get Docker packages. I don't know what they're called exactly, but Docker packages that are already built. So if you have Docker installed, you can just whip it up real quick. But I want to understand what goes into it, because there are a couple of things that I want to implement on Docker. So I'm building my website for jordancrandall.com, and I've got the homepage pretty much built. I mean, there are some things that I can still fix. Nothing's wired up yet, except for this nav bar, except for that. I need to link everything, maybe make a couple tweaks, but the main thing that I need to do is make sure everything's functioning. So I need to fix those links. That's easy. All that stuff is easy. But the difficult part will be this portion, the form. When they submit it, what are they submitting it to? And since I am a lifecycle marketer, I don't want to just simply implement, a simple form entry plugin on WordPress. I want some additional capabilities so that I can manage touch points and the customer journey and be able to manage the experience like that. And then another type of kind of form fill is right here. So my idea is that I need to implement mautic. Mautic, the marketing automation platform, open source. It's really great. I've used it before, but it uses a different version of PHP and MySQL. Can't remember exactly. But then in the future, I also want to do Suite CRM, which I believe also uses either a different version of SQL and PHP. Okay, so mautic, the most recent one, which I think is brand new. I don't want to use it yet, but it looks cool. It's got some cool capabilities. It looks like the newest one uses PHP. Oh, it looks like Mautic 4 also uses PHP 8. And then MySQL, it uses something a little older. Let's see, what version of MySQL are we on? Is newest. Eight point one. Yeah, 8. So with MySQL, we have to go back to an older version, and so Docker will allow us to package all of the necessary items that Mautic needs, and then Suite CRM requirements. This one needs an older version of PHP, SSL extension, Suite CRM. Okay. Looks like it does use, I think Composer is a my headset just turned off. I think Composer is a Docker thing. Not sure 100%, but yeah, so I want to be able to install Suite CRM, and then the other, so that's Suite CRM is future state. Mautic is what I want now, as well as cal dot maybe com for some reason. That might be it. Open source scheduling software. Yeah, cal.com. So I want to install cal.com. So my tech stack will be WordPress, mautic, WordPress for the website and the content management system, mautic for the marketing automation, cal.com for the scheduling, Suite CRM in the future for CRM, but mautic on the lower end of things. lower volume, I think is great for that, because if you don't have a lot of details to track, you just want to manage their experience. It can handle CRM type of tasks if you're not doing anything crazy, which I am not, but I will want that in the future. So that's my tech stack for now, and I want to install it all on either a virtual private server like Linode, or just on a home server that I have here. But I want to keep them separated. Sorry, not separated. I want to put them all on the same server, but with Docker containers, containerize them, because I have had mautic and Sweet CRM, since they have different versions, when things update, sometimes things clash a little bit. So that's why I want to learn to containerize them all, so that when they need to, they can use the same resources, and when they also need to, they can have their own resources defined. So that is why I'm doing this today. So I want to start off with WordPress just to learn, because I know WordPress like the back of my hand at this point, but I don't know how to implement it on Docker, and so that reduces, part of the barrier to entry, and I can see from the WordPress side of things, I can kind of understand what's going on. So that's why I'm starting with WordPress. Okay, I'm actually curious. I have a webcam now. I'm just curious if I can share it. You probably don't want to see me, but I'm curious if it works. It does. Oof. Look rough. And we'll get rid of that for now. Turn that off. Cool. Okay. So let us begin with just watching a couple of videos and seeing which one will do what we want it to do.
If you watch
If
this
you
video
watch
right
this
now,
video right
then you
now, then
probably
you
know
probably
who I
know
am.
who I
And you
am. And you
I'm going to turn that off. Hopefully.
probably heard about
There we
our
go.
new, simple, automated marketing system.
Okay, now under ports, let's also. This video is sponsored by devmountain.com, or click the link in the description below. Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up an entire WordPress environment within Docker, and I'm not going to go over the basics of Docker. I have a two video series called Getting Started with Docker, where we talk about containers and images and all that stuff, the different commands. What we're going to do is create a Docker Compose file with a few different services that we can just create on the fly. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to do a tutorial on headless WordPress, where we basically use the WordPress API so we can use the content management system, but also use React or Vue or something on the front end by using the REST API that WordPress provides. So I wanted a quick and easy way to get WordPress set up, so instead of installing something like XAMPP and going through all that rigmarole, we're just going to use Docker, create a single file, run a single command, and it's going to set up everything. And it's not even going to be on our machine, it's going to be within Docker containers. All right, so obviously you do need Docker installed. You can just go to docker.com and install it. And then I'm going to show you the different.
Okay, so right off the bat, it sounds like we need to install Docker. Docker.com. Go to docs. See if there is something that says installation. Docker build, engine, scout, overview. Reference. Let's go back to this page. Actually, install Docker. docs.docker.com or get started with Docker. Let's just see this one. Open that in a new tab. We definitely want to install it. I am on Linux, so we will download it for Linux. Okay, let's see what this says. Docker Desktop is a one-click application for Mac, Linux, Windows. It lets you build, share, and run containerized applications and microservices. It provides straightforward GUI that lets you manage containers. Docker Desktop reduces the time spent on complex setups so you can focus on writing code. It takes care of port mappings, file system concerns, and other settings. It is regularly. Okay. Cool. This page contains information about general system requirements, supported platform. Important. Docker Desktop on Linux runs a virtual machine which creates and uses a custom Docker context. Desktop Linux on startup. This means that images and containers deployed on the Linux Docker engine before installation are not available in the Docker Desktop for Linux. What is the difference between Docker Desktop for Linux and Docker Engine? User-friendly graphic interface. This Docker Engine is the core. Powers Docker containers. Docker Desktop for Linux also comes with additional features like Docker Scout and Docker extensions. Can be installed side by side on the same machine. Docker Desktop for Linux stores containers and images in an isolated storage location within a virtual machine and offers controls to restrict its resources. Prevents it from interfering with a Docker engine installation on the same machine. Well, it's possible to run both Docker Desktop and maybe simultaneously running. Kind of. Don't like the sound of setting it up in a virtual machine within my computer. But let's just query the world of Ubuntu. Installing Docker on Ubuntu. This is going to be super annoying because I'm on the newest version of Ubuntu, 24.04. And here's a video of that. But I've already noticed some things are not ready to run on that yet. Let's see. Let's open a new tab there. Installing Docker on Ubuntu, 4 easy ways. Okay. Option 1, using the apt repository, which is probably the one that I'd like to do. So, how do I bring that to the front? Order. Control up, control down. Okay, that works. Let's start by updating. Pat update. Okay, perfect. A bunch of repositories most commonly used. It adds Docker to your package list so you can easily install future updates via. Okay, so option 1, and what's option 2? Debian package. So just downloading the package and installing it. 3. Convenient script automates the installation of all Docker components. It's non-interactive, so you can sit back and wait. Sure, Docker engine is working. Let's try option 1, just because that looks familiar to me. So make that bigger. Okay. So I just updated it. Let's do. I'm going to read through it real quick. Talk about it. You need to add this repository. Translation won't be able to find the Docker packages. Begin by updating your existing package list and installing some dependencies for the following steps. Okay, I think I have most of those. Doesn't hurt to make sure they're available. Certificates, Perl, GNU, PG, LS, B-release. Okay. That looked successful. And then sudo make directory. Let's see, apt keys. Okay. And then Down, just copy and paste that. My headset's being kind of funky. I'm gonna unplug it and plug it back in real quick. Okay. Hopefully, stop having issues. Okay, so I copied and pasted that line that was in there. Copied and pasted that one. Okay. Easy peasy. Next. So that just registered Docker's GPG keyring with apt. Okay. And then downloaded a bunch of stuff, or some stuff. Modified. Wait. Oh, I still need to do this next one. Chmod. Dang it. I hate that you can't do Control V into the terminal. Okay. Enter. Cool. Right. Now, this is gonna download or update some stuff actually. Docker stable. I don't know what the T command is. It's kind of interesting. Let's look it up. What is the T command in Linux? Used with a pipe, reads standard output, then writes the output of a program to standard output and simultaneously copies it into the specified file or files immediately and at the same time store it for future use. Okay, so it reads out and stores at the same time. Perfect. And then it pushes it to dev null. Okay, we'll do that. Done. Okay. And then it wants us to update again. Sudo apt update. Okay. Now I can use the apt install to add Docker's components. There are 3 packages to install: Docker Engine, Docker CLI, the Docker container runtime known as containerd that starts and runs your containers. Okay. Paste. And here we go. Yes. Okay, so that was option 1, so that we can skip option 2 and option 3. And then we need to make sure, wait, let's see. Okay, yeah, I didn't skip anything. So now we need to run sudo docker run hello world. So Docker client pull the world image to your machine from the Docker Hub repository. Let's read it. Pulling from library, pull complete. Hello from Docker. Excuse me. This message shows that your installation appears to be working correctly. To generate this message, Docker took the following steps. Docker client contacted daemon, pull the hello world image. Daemon created a new container from the image. Stream that output. To try something more ambitious, you can run an Ubuntu container with docker run-it ubuntu bash. Okay, cool. So now we've got Docker installed, a new container rolled in automatically with hello world. Seeing output shown above, it's ready to use. Setting Docker engine permissions in Ubuntu. Usually requires root privileges to run. I can do that. You need prefix each command with sudo. It is inconvenient, but whatever. This requirement by adding yourself to the Docker group. Oh. After you've installed Docker Engine using the steps above, this optional change gives you the permission to run Docker commands as a regular user without sudo. Okay, make sure Docker user exists, sudo group add Docker. Already exists. Sudo user mod G Docker. Is this actually echo user Jordan? Okay. Sudo user mod -ag Docker. I know I can just write my user, but for some reason I want to do this. If I'm following instructions, I usually like to follow the instructions, just in case, you know? I feel like I understand why things are done a little better than I used to, and so I feel like I could do that, but early on I'd mess up a lot because I'd assume that I understood why they were doing a thing and did it my own way. And I learned the hard way to just follow the damn instructions. If you previously run any Docker command with sudo, you need to fix the permissions on your Docker directly, because you told me. Sudo chown user colon user / Docker minus R. Okay, so I'm the owner now. I am the captain. Perfect. I write that correctly? Sudo didn't do anything. I guess I was doing sudo before. Let's see. Docker doesn't exist there. Okay. Clear the screen. This ensures the user account is allowed to read and write files. Oh, I didn't do the second portion. But since the file doesn't exist, I don't expect it will work. Nope. This ensures your own user account is allowed to read and write. Let's try this. Womp womp. Okay, so I still have to run it doing sudo. What did I do wrong? User mod ag docker user. Okay. Run any docker command necessary. You need to fix the permission. Well, I guess let's do cd, although I'm pretty sure I'm in this directory. Yeah, no, doesn't exist. Write files. Adding Docker Compose to your Ubuntu installation. Compose is now available as part of the Docker CLI. The Compose installation script to install Docker. It is also available. Alternatively, you can download adding Docker Compose to your Ubuntu installation. I think I need that. Already. Okay. Perfect. All right. I'm hoping that I don't have to do things from the GUI. 'Cause I feel like when I do it from the terminal, I usually end up understanding what is happening a little better. So we will continue with this guy's tutorial.
Images we're going to be using. So this is hub.docker.com, and I'm just going to search for WordPress.
This is already, oh, I guess I forgot to get this out of the way. There we go. Hub.docker.com. Okay. Said search for WordPress. Close these.
So basically we're using the official WordPress image, which includes
Show WordPress image. Okay.
It includes Apache, it includes PHP, so all that stuff is taken care of. But we do need MySQL as a container as well. So if we search for MySQL and we take a look at this image, down here there's some environment variables that we're going to need. So the root password, the database, we want to create a new user and password as well. So this is stuff we're going to have to include in the Docker Compose file. All right, and then I also want to install phpMyAdmin. So if we search for that, phpMyAdmin, which is this one right here, and basically this will allow us to view our tables and columns and stuff like that. So I just want to create a single file that will set all of this stuff up for us. All right, so let's jump into VS Code. And I'm just in an empty folder called WordPress_site. I already have Docker installed. And we're going to create a new file here. So I'm going to say touch Docker.
Okay. Let's do default view. And I think I'm going to make this screen smaller a little bit. Move this over here. And unhide that. Make that a little better. Okay, I think you can see that. Perfect. So we will, gosh dang it, what did I do? There we go. Okay. So now we follow his instructions. And I am just going to do it on my desktop. Okay. And we'll follow his instructions.
-compose.yaml, Y-A-M-L. And I'm just going to open this up and I'm just going to go through line by line.
I'm going to make a folder first. Make a directory on current one. And then we'll do Docker WordPress test. And then we'll go into that directory and then do what he's saying, touch docker -compose compost dot YAML. Okay. And we continue.
And kind of explain what's going on. So the first thing we want is the version of the compose file, which right now we want to do.
Turns out I need to open the file. Docker okay.
Version 3, that's the latest version. And then we want our services, and the indentation is really important, so make sure you indent here. Our first service is going to be our database. I'll actually just put a comment here and say database, and we're going to call it DB. So we want to do DB colon, and then we want to indent over, and then the image that we want to use.
I don't know how big of an indent.
Make sure you indent here. Which right now we want to do version 3, that's the latest version. And then we want our services, and the indentation is really important, so make sure you indent here. Our first service is going to be our database. I'll actually just.
Let's find out. Docker YAML file indent type spaces. question, but I was going to. Tab is not allowed. Okay, so as long as we're consistent, so if this, that's one space, 1, 2, 3, 4, but as long as all these are the same, if they need to be, then we're good. Okay. Perfect. Jump down. Space.
Put a comment here and say database, and we're going to call it DB. So we want to do DB colon, and then we want to indent over, and then the image that we want to use here is the MySQL image, and we're going to use 5.7. Alright, so we have the image. Next thing we want is the
I want to use a newer one. Let's see. Stable MySQL version. It is the LTS version, so okay. MySQL 8 is what I want to use. 8.0 image. Okay.
the volumes, because we want to be able to save or persist to our database and have it saved. So for volumes, we're going to do actually, we're going to go on to the next line, and when we do this, we need to put a tab and then a hyphen and then a space, and we're going to do db underscore data and map it to wherever MySQL is in the container, which is going to be /var/lib/MySQL. Okay, so the next thing we're going to add is our restart policy of always, so that if the server reboots, the container restarts. And then our environment, this is going to be our environment variables. And if we go to the documentation for the MySQL image here and go down to environment variables, we need the root password, the database, and then I want to create a new user and password for the WordPress installation because I don't want to use the root. So let's do MySQL underscore root underscore password. And I'm just going to set that to password. And then let's do MySQL underscore database, which I'll set to WordPress. Okay, we'll copy that down a couple times, and then we want the MySQL user and the password for that user, which will both be WordPress.
Okay. I can't remember how to copy the line, so I'm just gonna type it out. So MySQL underscore database WordPress MySQL underscore user WordPress and 3 MySQL underscore password. Oh, nope, that's wrong.
All right, and then we want to set our networks, because basically I want all of our services to run on a Docker network.
Root password. password and then SQL password. Okay, yeah, I guess that's right. WordPress.
And we're going to call it, will both be WordPress. All right, and then we want to set our networks, because basically I want all of our services to run on a Docker network, and we're going to call that WP site. Okay, and that could be, you could call it whatever you want. So next service we need is WordPress. So we'll set the image. Actually, before we do that, let's say depends underscore on. It's going to depend on the DB service. Okay, and the image is going to be the WordPress image, and we want the latest version, so latest. All right, and then we're also going to need to map ports because we need to access WordPress from our local machine. So let's say ports, and we want to put some quotes here. We're going to say we want 8,000 on our local machine to map to 80 within the container. Now, notice we didn't put ports for our database service, and the reason for that is we're connecting directly to that container. There's no need to expose it to our machine, our local machine that we're on. Let me just put a comment here for this service. So this is WordPress. Okay, now under ports, let's also do restart always. Oops. Restart always. And then we need volumes. So WordPress obviously has files, so we need to basically take the files that are in the container, like the WordPress admin folder, the theme, all that stuff, and we want that to show up in here in our root folder. So we need to map that. So we're going to open some brackets and quotes. We're going to say /, meaning this current folder that we're in, we want to map to /var/www/html. Because remember, this WordPress image, it has Apache, it uses Apache, and this is the web root for Apache, and that's where those WordPress files are stored. So we want to basically pull those out into here, or sync them up with this folder.
That makes sense.
All right, so we also need environment variables for WordPress, which is going to be WordPress underscore DB underscore host. Now the host is going to be this DB service, so we're going to connect directly to this. So DB on port 3306, which is the default port for MySQL. All right, let's bring this down a couple times. So we need a DB user as well, which is going to be WordPress. And we're going to change this to WordPress as well, and this is going to be DB password. So these two should match these two, because this is the user and password we're using. Okay, and then we just want to define networks for this as well. So networks, and we're going to say WP site. All right, now I'm going to do phpMyAdmin after, but before we can do this, we need to map the volume of DB data and the network of WP site. So we're going to go on the first line here, and or first column, whatever, and we're going to say networks and WP site . Okay, we also want to do volumes and then DB underscore data . All right, so save that, and that should be enough for us to set up our containers. So if we go down here and I do a docker ps, what this does is shows us the containers on my machine, which you can see I've cleared out. Now if I do a docker images, I do have the 3 images on my machine. So if you're following along, yours will take a little longer because it will have to pull or download them from Docker Hub. If we go down here and I do a docker ps, what this does is shows us the container.
Okay, let's try that. Quit docker ps sudo bang bang. Okay, I've got the same things that he does. Good.
containers on my machine, which you can see I've cleared out. Now if I do a Docker images, I do have the 3 images on my machine. So if you're following along, yours will take a little longer because it will have to pull or download them from Docker Hub. So mine will go a little faster.
Oh. Docker images. Gosh dang it. Got the hello world. He never said how to download them. So let's look. How to use this image. Docker run. Flow environment variables are also honored for configuring your WordPress. The WordPress domain name needs to already exist. Will not be created by the WordPress container. If you'd like to be able to access this instance from the host without the container's IP, standard port mappings can be used. Sounds like kind of what we're doing. Yeah, so this is what we're doing. They have MySQL 8. Interesting, down here. I'm curious. I'm gonna go back in the video a little bit.
All sites. We're going to do phpMyAdmin after, but before we can do this, we need to map the volume of DB data and the network of WP site. So we're going to go on the first line here, and or first column, whatever, and we're going to say networks colon and WP site colon. Okay, we also want to do volumes colon and then DB underscore data colon. All right, so save that, and that should be enough for us to set up our containers. So if we go down here and I do a Docker PS, what this does is shows us the long yours will go.
Guess he's just mounting it.
Network, and it's going to be prefixed with whatever my full
okay.
Compose up -D for.
Is that what he's doing? Docker run. Yeah, I don't think he downloaded them, but what will happen if I just do this? Docker run name some WordPress. I want to just network some network directory WordPress. Let's do a quick look into his content. Let's see if we can't find anything different. Playlists. Docker. View full playlist. Okay. Getting started.
11 months ago, we burned down our advertising agency at $66,000 per month, but I still went on to build a new
doing it this way. Okay, I could have, this could be anything, but you want to make sure this is 80 if you're using communicate with that engine and other machines, and very easy to way. And companies doing more there is its actions. It's very very self-explanatory. I already have Docker installed, but you would go to download for Mac or download for Windows, or use your package manager if you're on Linux. And you need to actually create an account with docker.com. You can see I'm logged in here. And one thing I want to mention is if you're on a system that's older than Mac OS Yosemite 10.10.3 or something older than Windows 10, like, it's just with the new logging up commands. Okay, and these management commands here are basically like sub commands, like ls. All right, a couple commands just to kind of get you runs and probe the info, pop everything out. And all right, so next has a command X, which would be my master image. Nginx latest. Latest is just the tag that it's using. Unable to find MySQL with a command called at the top here. You'll see it'll show you the number of containers on your system, the number running. I actually cleared everything out for this tutorial, so I have no images on my machine, and I'll talk about images in a few minutes. No containers running, anything like that. All right, so let's create our first container. So I want to create an Nginx container, and if you don't know what Nginx is, it's a very common web server. It's similar to Apache. So when we install, or actually let's just create it first. So we'll say Docker container. Remember these management commands. So, and it has a this management command has a sub command called run. So Docker container run. I'm going to add the -it flag, which is basically interactive mode. I want this to run.
So this is a Docker container run, just Docker run. There's no IT.
On in the foreground rather than in the background. All right, so we'll say Docker run IT. Then we want to add a publish flag, so you can either do -- and then you want so this, and with Nginx port Nginx latest. Latest is just
okay. So it downloaded it, kinda.
it's shorter. And then you want to map the ports. So the first port is the port that you want to use on your local machine. So I'm just going to use 80, which is actually the default port for Nginx, which would be the second one. Okay, the second port is what is exposed from the container, and with Nginx it's port 80. With Apache it's port 80. For instance, MySQL would be 3306. That's the default port for MySQL. But you can map it to whatever port you want on your system. Okay, I could have, this could be anything, but you want to make sure this is 80 if you're using Nginx. And then lastly, we want to just put the name of the image, which is Nginx. Okay, so notice that it says unable to find image, Nginx latest. Latest is just the...
Okay, so I think if I run this, I think name is just what it'll name the container. Let's just try it. See what happens. Okay. Perfect. Docker run. Oh. Accidentally did that. Okay. Let's try it without the sudo really quick. Perfect. Didn't find it. Now it's downloading it. All right. Now, downloaded newer image for WordPress, latest. Cool. What did it put in here? Nothing. Error response from daemon. Network, some network not found. That is accurate. Okay. Let's do Docker. Okay. I don't know what that Docker PS really does, because it's not showing anything in here. Let's do, he did something different in here.
For detached. And what it's going to do is first create
Oh wait, no, it was in this
the
one.
tag that it's using, which is the latest version. Everything out for this tutorial, so I have no
Docker info. Okay. Well, before there were 2, and now there are 3. There was only 1 image before. Cool. Let's see what comes up. Docker help. Run, create and run a new container. List containers. It's not really listing them. Build, pull. That seems like what I need to do. Upload an image to a registry. List images. Yeah, let's list the images. Docker images. Okay, yeah, there it is, WordPress. And then I probably need the MySQL. Official image. Aha! Did WordPress have that? What the f? Could have done that the whole time. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna run that anyway, just to see what happens. Okay. Pulling latest, images up to date. Cool. Let's do it for MySQL. Sudo. Pulling down SQL. Can't remember what else he said. But I think with those 2 downloaded, let's open up the YAML file. Then, I can't remember what it's called. Docker. Okay, so I've got MySQL. I don't know if I did that right. Services. WordPress. Image WordPress latest. Okay. And image SQL. Okay. So there's just 2. And networks, WP site, volumes, DB data. And I will continue.
create the network, and it's going to be prefixed with whatever my folder. So mine will go a little faster. But either way, we're going to do docker dash compose up dash D for detached. And what it's going to do is first create the network, and it's going to be prefixed with whatever my folder name is, in my case WordPress site, and then create the volume, create the database, all that stuff. And you can see the files are starting to show up over here. All right, now you want to wait until these files all come in before you visit port 8000. But I just want to show you now, if I do docker ps, you can see we have our two container IDs and the images, WordPress latest and MySQL. And you can see WordPress is mapped to port 8000. So now I'm going to open a browser and I'm going to go to HTTP.
Okay, that didn't work for me. Maybe. I thought I installed Docker Compose already. Actually, let's find where that was. Sudo apt install Docker Compose plugin. Okay, that's different. Okay, so sudo apt install docker dash compost. I always say compost. Compose, sudo apt install docker compose. Yes. Okay. Let's try again.
Press latest in my wait, that's the case. It was a little. I have the three images on my machine, so do setup colon and then db underscore data colon. Up as a from Docker Hub, so mine will go a little faster. We'll have to pull machine. Now, if I do a Docker images, yours will take a little longer because it will have to pull. But either way, we're going to do docker dash compose up dash d for detached. And what it's going to do is first create the network, and it's going to be prefixed with whatever my folder name is, in my case, WordPress site, and then create the volume, create the...
What? Docker images. WordPress. Volumes environment. 6. Networks. Um, hmm. I hate that beeping sound. I should change it. Let's see what it said. The compose file, docker compose dot unsupported config option for services.db WordPress. Okay, so I probably did something wrong. Let's rewind.
SQL image here. Okay, and the image is going to be the word.
Docker images permission. Oh wait. File is invalid because unsupported config option for services.db WordPress. So services DB WordPress. So this is what is invalid. So I need to see what I did wrong here. From line 17 to 31. Okay, so looking at his code, looks like it's on the same line. Oh, mine's on the same line as this networks, and his is definitely not. So I think it's an indentation problem. Go to the top. It's going to be annoying, but let's just look. Okay, version, services.
Is the volumes because
Version, services. That's indented once. And then these are indented twice. And additional one. Guess it's not until, oh, wait, yeah. Restart always.
we want for volume is environment variables.
Forward.
Database
Ah,
is the root.
okay. Let's see how these indents are. DB, image, volumes, and then the path, DB data path is one additional one. Then it comes back out one. Same line as environment, and then the rest of the MySQL environment variables are just one in.
So I'm just copying in the
Fast
path to run on a Docker.
And then networks is one back out. WP side is one in. Okay. And then WordPress was two out. Womp. It's gonna be annoying. So everything underneath there needs to be have one removed. So you, 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 and you. Okay. Right. Quit. Let's try again. Actually, it's gonna yell at me. It's taking longer this time. Something happened. Well, looks like there's an error, but at least something different happened. This is not what I expected, nor do I know what it means. Okay. Trace back. Retrieve server version. HTTP connection request got an unexpected keyword argument chunk. And a lot more of that. Error while fetching server API version. HTTP connection request got an unexpected. Well, I think our YAML file is fine now. Let's try, I think since this was Docker Compose supposed to download everything, maybe the Docker images that I had downloaded differently mess things up. So I'm just going to try to delete them. So I'm going to do Docker help. See if there's like a Docker remove or something like that. Create, build, push, pull, images. There's copy, create new container. Save, start, stop, and pause. Debug. Okay. Now we will Google. Delete Docker images. What? I thought I didn't see an RM in there. Oh, remove one or more containers, remove one or more images. Okay. Let's do Docker images. Bang, bang. Okay. Docker RMI WordPress. Sudo bang, bang. Unable to remove. Must force. Let's try just no such container. Okay. Unable to remove. Must force container. It's using its referenced image. So it's running maybe. So let's do help and do, so there's a stop, there's kill, let's try Docker stop WordPress, sudo, no such container. Google it is. Copy. Actually, let's see what it says in here. Because it is typed multiple. Let's try doing that. :latest. Okay. Images. Oh. Do I need to do that? Oh, that's what it's saying. Must force container using its reference image. So let's copy that. Let's see what happens. Paste. Error response conflict unable to delete. Must be forced images being used. I stopped container. Okay. Specify the images URL ID. This command untags removes all images. Let's just try adding a flag. Okay. That seems to have done something. I did it. Okay. So I deleted WordPress. Let's delete MySQL latest. What the? That seemed to work. Okay. Kind of want to delete the hello world one too. Hello dash world. While we're here, I need to use its referenced image. Copy. Find the one where I had to do that thing. Here it is. Paste. Okay, now let's check again. My headset keeps dying. Okay. Docker images. Perfect. Nothing. Now, let's try this command again. Let's see what happens. Same thing. Wah, wah. HTTP connection request. Why? Let's do copy, paste, Stack Overflow. For two of you helping me with the error, I tried the command but can't connect to my Docker. 27 answers. Are you sure Docker is running on your instance? No, I am not. Sudo system status Docker. Looks like it's running to me. But let's see if it's had any errors or anything. 2 minutes completed initialization. Ignoring event. Let's do a restart. Let's see if that does anything. Check status. Okay. Version. I don't know why checking the version is important, but I just wanted to type in a command, I guess. Anyone who can access Docker socket can pretty trivially root the host. This setting can make sense on I'm reading this where it's telling people to change the permissions and var run docker.sock socket. Bad suggestion, downvoted. It worked because it gives all users access to the socket file. Okay. I won't do that one. Well, let's try to run the command again. Now that I've restarted it, maybe something changed. I doubt it. Yep. Okay. Let's check the next one. Container definition, container logs. Running a shell script fixed it. Must be Docker Compose related. Clear. Sudo docker run. Like a Minecraft thing. Seem to be using an ancient version of Docker Compose. Stack dump. This is A, nothing related to my image. B indicates you're using the old Python-based tool. Upgrade your Docker tooling, and you'll find that Docker Compose is now a native command. Someone said change from Docker-compose to Docker-compose. Haha! Something's happening. When was this video made? This was 5 years ago. Okay. I guess things have changed since then. So let's list the files in this directory. And all of a sudden there's a lot of stuff in there. Oh, all the WordPress things. Okay. Cool. That worked. Now we continue in this 15-minute video that I've been watching for an hour and 30 minutes.
So we'll set the image. Actually, before we press, we need a work to service force. That stuff. This environment, the host, BDB password.
Fast forward a little bit.
So, admin after works colon and WP site colon. The big on I will take a little because image cleared out.
Actually, now I'm curious. I want to look at see what is in Docker images. Okay, got WordPress and SQL. What happens if I do Docker PS sudo? Oh, okay. So these are the containers. So Docker images lists my images. Sounds obvious. It wasn't to me. And Docker PS sounds like it's listing the containers and the ports that it's using. I don't know if you can see that, but cool. Okay. We are making progress.
Now, if I do a Docker images, I take a little faster. But either way, we're going to do it detached. And what it's going to do is first create the network, and it's going to be prefixed with whatever my folder name is, in my case, WordPress site. and then create the volume, create the database, all that stuff. And you can see the files are starting to show up over here. All right, now you want to wait until these files all come in before you visit port 8000. But I just want to show you now, if I do docker ps, you can see we have our two container IDs and the images, WordPress latest and MySQL. And you can see WordPress is mapped to port 8000. So now I'm going to open a browser and I'm going to go to HTTP localhost port 8000.
Okay, so I'm going to try this, but I'm guessing it won't work because I have a lot of stuff already mapped to the Apache. I have like Nginx stuff running off of it. So let's find out. 8000. Wow, it worked. I guess it's mapped to a different port. Mine are on 80 and 443. Cool. This is awesome so far.
And it should take us to an installation page, so we can go through and we can now install WordPress. Say my website, admin, and install WordPress, log in. And that's it. So, I mean, you know, we went through and we created the Docker Compose file, but I'm going to have that file in the description, so you can simply take that file and just run docker compose up-d, and it will set up all this stuff for you. All right, we're also going to add phpMyAdmin, but just to show you, we can visit the front end here of WordPress. This is the new 2019 theme, which is very plain. If we wanted to change it, we could go to Appearance, Themes, and activate the old theme here, and reload. There it is. If we want to change something, like let's go to Posts, we'll change the title here. We'll just say, hi there. Update and reload, and you can see that it is persisting to MySQL. All right, so let's go back to the Docker Compose, and I'm going to go between the database and WordPress and create the phpMyAdmin service. So we're going to call it phpMyAdmin, and this also depends on the database. So let's say depends.
Okay, so I'm not too worried about phpMyAdmin. Let's look at what it is really quick, because phpMyAdmin is a free software tool intended to handle the administration of MySQL over the web, MySQL. Oh yeah, it's so that you can look at the tables. Supports a wide range of MySQL and MariaDB. I'm not worried about that. I feel comfortable enough in the terminal, and I would hook up other things anyway to look at the data. So I'm just going to skip through this and get to the end, see if there's anything else that I should know.
On use what it's set from 80 admin.
Let me show you how we do stuff around here. Actually, my department uses
Commercial.
Monday.com, so I'm good. Work.
I think it's database or root password. We need the port, PMA port, and then we also need the pretty much the description goes up. All right, so like I said, I will be doing a tutorial on headless WordPress. You'll be ready to go. All right, so like I said, I will be doing a tutorial on headless WordPress soon, but I mean, you could use this just to create a regular WordPress site as well. All right, so hopefully you guys like this. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll see you in the next video.
Cool. Okay. So now I just want to explore a little bit, because we did install everything. actually, I'm going to finish this installation. Site title, test site. Actually, let's just do Jordan Crandall test. Username Jordan. Password will be password. Very weak. Confirm use of weak password. Let's do jordan@jordancrandall.com. Indexing the site. I mean, it's not open to the world. So install WordPress. Install WordPress. One or more database tables. The database may need to be repaired. Interesting. To allow this page to automatically repair the database problems, please add the following line to your WP. Alright, this is good stuff. Find out that something's not working, so let's go into this file. Then we need to go into wp-config. Vim wp-config. Where is it? .php. Okay, that's weird. And please add the following line to your WordPress config. Okay. I know there's a section down here where it says add things between here. Add any custom values between this line and the stop editing line. Where's the stop editing line? Stop editing. Okay. Oops. Insert define wp underscore allow underscore repair true, close parentheses, true, right, quit. Okay, reload this page. Okay, reload. One or more of the database tables are unavailable. To allow WordPress to attempt tables, press repair database button. Repairing can take a while, so please be patient. WordPress can also attempt to optimize the database. This improves performance in some situations. Repairing and optimizing the database can take a long time, and the database will be locked while optimizing. Let's just repair. Everything looks okay. Repair is complete. Please remove the following line to prevent from this page being used by unauthorized users. Thanks for the tip. Stop editing. Delete. Right, quit. Okay. Says it's broken again. back in there. Fine. I'm going to copy and paste that. Paste. Right. It's okay. Table is okay. Repair is complete. Please remove. It says it's fine. Whoops. Forgot to delete it. Right. Quit. Where is the database stored? So it's in var lib MySQL. And is that on the host computer, meaning my computer, or did it create its own environment? So var lib MySQL. Quit. Let's go in here. See if there's any folders that I wouldn't recognize as WordPress things. No. Shoot, I already forgot what it was. Var lib MySQL. var lib. Let's just go in there. Let's see what's in here. Okay, MySQL. Let's cd into that. Permission denied. What? cd. What? Command not found. cd is a shell built-in command. It cannot be run directly. S option may be used to run a privileged shell. -d option. What in the world? Are these not? Yeah, they're. Let's see. Where is? MySQL. A lot of these are. MySQL is a directory. Read, write, execute. I want to let me in. Let's try MySQL-files. What? -d option may be used to run a command specific in a specific directory. Let's try -s. Just actually, let's try without it first. Oh, okay. And then now let's try it with -s. Diddly squat. var lib MySQL. let's go into God mode. Okay. CD MySQL. There we go. That let me in. Got a bunch of my little WordPress sites on here. Test. I don't even see it in here. I don't think that's it. I think that's something else. Because I have a dev environment where I'm trying to redesign a site of my own. Well, copy and paste to Google. Found a guide. I don't know, man. Maybe I need to follow someone else's tutorial. Database corruption, problems with corrupted WordPress files, issues with the database server. I have a bunch of stuff already built on this computer, and if it's not isolated from any of this stuff, then let's see if there's any hidden directories. Nope. Let's try going into Jordan Crandall. Nothing. Nothing at all. Let's go back out. Let's head to general log.csv. It's capital CSV. Doesn't look like there's anything in there. Nothing. Okay. Command quit not found. Exit. There we go. Well, let's do Docker ps again. Just see if there are any hints in here. WordPress latest, Docker entry point, 22 minutes ago, Docker WordPress test dash WordPress dash 1. Yeah, is this in the current directory? I mean, let's go back to desktop. Where is it? cd docker WordPress test. Is it in here somewhere? No. I don't see it. There's a wp config docker. That's interesting. Let's look inside of that. And then it's sudo oh wp dash I hate that little beeping sound. It's driving me nuts. Sudo vim wp dash config dash docker dot php. Is this the one that I need to edit? Let's try it. Control C. So I'm copying that line again, pasting it in here, insert, paste, right. Nope. I didn't do anything. Did I not write it? Oh, you've already installed WordPress. Clear tables first. Log in. Shoot. What did I? Jordan. Password. Remember me. Oh. Looks like maybe it was just like cached. So I should have just closed that window. Let's delete this. Quit. Let me go back into the yellow and make sure I deleted it. Config.php. Cool. It's gone. All right. So what I wanted to do is, where is this stored? The SQL database, like I couldn't find it in there. Let's set some things that I normally would. It's on 8,000. Site title. Cool. Typically like a static page. Permalinks. I like the post name. Save changes. I don't think I saved the changes on this one. Save changes. General. I don't think I changed anything here. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Appearance. Let's upload, not upload. Let's create a page. Add new page. Next. Exit. choose you. Publish, publish, view page. Perfect. Okay. So I feel like at this point, there should be something stored in a database with information. So I want to understand where. And I think there's a place in here. Let's look at available tools, import. There's a place in here somewhere where it tells you information about your system. REST API encountered a problem. Your site could not complete a loopback request. Move inactive plugins. Personal data. Theme file editor. I understand. Plugin file editor. I understand. It's maybe in settings. No. Where would it be? Export. Content download export file. That's kind of cool. I didn't know this was a feature. And export all content. Plugins. Will let me delete some. Yeah, that worked. Comments, pages, media, posts. I have no idea. I bet it's in, oh, site health info. There it is. Directories, var www /html. Is it just telling it that this is where we are? Or is this within its pretend instance? And Docker is kind of a computer within a computer. Media handling, server. So interesting. Okay, let's look at database. Server, client, database username, WordPress, database host, prefix. Close that. Constants. File system permissions, writable. Where, oh, where could it be? Where is my SQL in Docker container? Let's see. Part of command mounts from the underlying host system. stored in Docker. Mounting a volume to this directory will enable persistent data storage that outlives any single container instance. Using this command to start your MySQL container will create a new Docker volume called MySQL. Oh. I think we did see that in there. So cd var/lib, but I needed to sudo su and cd MySQL. In here, there's another MySQL. Is this it? Okay. I think we'll create a new Docker volume. Wait, is there something called? No. Okay, let's see what this says. Okay. var lib MySQL. Perfect. It's in a Docker named volume. You can't star it directly, access it, but it will get persisted across runs. Repeating Docker compose up will reuse the existing volume even if the database container is deleted and recreated. By default, my headset shut off again. By default, Docker Compose Down will not delete the volume. You explicitly need a volumes option. If you want to be able to directly see the files and have an easier time backing them up, you can use bind mounted host directory instead, depending on your host OS. Rather different performance and permission characteristics. So if you're in development setup or creating a database, you might prefer a named volume if the database content is totally opaque anyway. Okay, how do you do that? Relative or absolute path. If you go poking around varlib docker on a native Linux host, you can find the named volume contents. But this is an implementation detail, and I don't think Docker actually makes any stability guarantees. Well, let's go into, let's go back out. Is there a Docker directory in here? Docker, okay, cd Docker. cd, let's go into, let's list volumes. Docker WordPress site test DB data. Let's go in there. cd Docker. Is that not a directory? Oh, it wasn't in there. Let's take a look at it. It is a directory, so Docker. Type of file is that? It's also a directory. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Let's go into WordPress. What is IBD format? IVD file is a MySQL table created by the NODB database engine. It contains a table-specific table space and index data. IVD files are created when MySQL's NODB file per table option is enabled, which it is by default. Okay, well, let's look inside one. Comment, meta, actually, let's do users, because I know I'm a user in there. Perfect. A bunch of gibberish, but I do see my email address in there and my name. Where did my email address go? I thought I saw it. Oh, right. Oh, it's in all that gibberish. Localhost. Okay, cool. Well, I kind of know where that is now. It's probably not that important, but for some reason it's the type of thing that my brain needs to understand when learning a new thing. Let's see what's in this weird one. WordPress content, plugins, themes. Let's go into themes. Nothing. All right. Cool. Slowly backing out, just so that I can look at everything on my way out. Let's look at image. Don't know what overlay 2 is. Imaged content. SHA-256. We don't need to know password data. Okay, CD containers, CD0. Hosts. Let's look at hosts. Hosts. Okay. Host. Name. Nothing useful. Okay. Well, that was fun. I've got WordPress implemented on Docker. But I want to figure out how to migrate a site to Docker. So let's shrink this back down, clear the screen. Let's go back to desktop. Okay. Now that we're close. Okay. Back and that WordPress folder. I'll probably have to move somewhere else, but for some reason it feels right to go back there. AC because it is hot. Okay. All right. So we got that implemented. Now let's find a video on migrating WordPress to Docker. WordPress. How to Docker file, creating a Docker file, creating WordPress with Docker. Because, oh, let's try show databases. Okay. These are all of my databases. And nothing in there. So I have to import the database from export the database from the existing WordPress site and import it into the new one, to the Docker version. And if I can't access the SQL database through the terminal, I don't know how to do it. From a Docker container. Okay, let's see.
Ready to be an e-commerce pioneer? Our baked-in
So this is how to export a WordPress MySQL database from a Docker container in less than 100 seconds. Okay. That is very small, and I know for on the screen it is even smaller. So let's make this bigger. Not that big. Turn off those titles. Okay, let's watch this. Crafting the MySQL dump command that will run inside the container. Crafting. Okay. Turn down that volume if there's going to be no speaking. Okay, Docker exec IT MySQL dump. So I recognize the MySQL dump command, but I don't. What is the IT? Docker help. So it's a lowercase I and a lowercase t. Creation of client config home Jordan Docker. I actually have not seen that yet. But that's not what we're looking at right now. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna ADHD for a second and go see if this file was ever created. Home Jordan Docker. Just home Jordan. I don't see it. Oops. Let's grep Docker. Nothing. Dot. Nope. Let's see if YouTube shows up. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where Docker's stored. Okay, back to the task at hand. So, oh, that's what I wanted to find out was what is Docker IT flag? I was doing some complex stuff with Docker, but as it turns out, I don't know what IT flag means. Docker run. IT is short for interactive and TTY. When you Docker run with this command, it takes you straight inside the container. Minus D dash D is short for detach, which means you just run the container and then detach from it. Essentially, you run container in the background. So if you run Docker container with itd, it runs both the IT options and detaches you from the container. As a result, your container will still be running in the background even without any default app to run. Okay. So essentially, interactive communication. I did see something in there that said interactive. I thought. Execute a command in a running container. Okay. And then build, manage volumes, attach a local standard input, output, commit, events. Doesn't say anything about interactive or minus I or T or flat dash IT. I always say minus. It's kind of annoying, but okay. Also, why is that? not in my directory. Maybe it's in my home directory? Who knows? Okay. Let's go back to this. So basically, interactive. In that Docker container, and then dash minus C, I guess. Name of the context to use. Oh, it's a capital C. Oh, no, that's lowercase c, I believe. This is a capital, maybe. It says name of the context to use to connect to the daemon overrides Docker host environment for and default context set with Docker context to use. Okay. Don't know what that means. Okay. Well, so it's dumping MySQL minus U. I was pulling in the user and the password, and then the database, and then writing it to or sending it to a file called /db. Okay, and then it says Docker copy from that Docker container experiments wp gains dash experiments dash db colon /db to current directory db. Okay, and then he just sees it there. Too big, let's zip. Interesting. Okay. So I think I know how to get a file out of it, and I think I could do the same way to get a file into it. Well, not the same way, obviously, but like there's a reverse version of that. So, okay. So generally speaking, I know how to deploy a WordPress instance into Docker with a persistent database, and I can get data out of it and probably data into it, but I haven't done it yet, but at least I have in my head how to do that. So I think the next thing I need to do is, as far as my site goes, my personal site, because I want to implement, I need to fix that. I want to implement, because this is just an image right now, and so is this. I want to deploy mautic and cal scheduling software. So I wonder, what was it called? Oh yeah, Docker Hub. So let's search mautic. What is this? Sponsored OSS. Verified publisher. Official image. No official image, which doesn't surprise me. But it seems like this 10 million plus one is probably the one. So this version refers to Docker image. Like information about older version. This version refers to Docker images and examples for mautic 5. That's the newest one. The older version, see GitHub. Okay. All mautic 5 Docker images follow the following naming strategy. Okay. Okay. So the main thing, I wonder if I even need to migrate my site to a Dockerized WordPress site. My main reason is to protect WordPress from mautic and SuiteCRM and cal.com so that they're all running separately. So I think I can leave the WordPress site as is, at least for now. And so my next task will be to implement mautic. And cal.com. Let's see if that is in here. I should search cal. Well, there's a lot of verified publishers. 50 million plus. Can I sort by most downloads? Oh, cal.com. This is Calico node. Okay. Cool. So I will need a lot of work to figure this out, but this is good. This will be great. So next tasks, mautic on my server and cal.com. I wonder if I should do cal.com first. Who knows? I'll decide it later. Anyway, I think that's it for this stream. I've been on 2.5 hours and I'm gonna go grab a snack and maybe, actually definitely, at the very latest, continue tomorrow. So I see there's one person in here. If you have any questions, well, I see there's 2 people in here. I know that one of them is me on my phone, just watching for comments, and the other one is not me. So if you have any questions or, yeah, want to chat about something, if you want me to help you figure something out, or continue watching me stumble over myself, welcome to do that. Thanks for watching. Bye.